back to Cleveland to find out this kind of offensive output from one half. You've also given up the big play.
Well, there's no question. I mean, it's been unbelievable. I mean, the play at the end of the half and the 82-yard pass, you know, it's hard to overcome that. I mean, we're doing some good things. We got to keep hammering on offense. Very pleased there. You know, we take away the big play. We're doing some things good on defense. But right now, this half, it'll be very important this first series of the third quarter.
You preach playing 60 minutes. Is that what you told them at halftime?
No, we talked about it coming into this week now. We have 2 weeks to try to leave an impression. And right now, we got to take this last 30 minutes, take this lead, and seize this opportunity.
Thank you, Bill. Coach Bill Cowher, the Steelers trying to break a 6-game losing streak overall, a 3-game losing streak at home. Ran Ron, back upstairs to you.
Thank you, Albie. And we see a lot of offensive production. 290 yards already for the Carolina Panthers.
That right there is a thing that can get Carolina killed, though. And they have been able to get away with it, and I think they're fortunate to only be down by 3 at halftime. You know, they let Pittsburgh get confidence in this game early, and then they gave them the turnovers to help it along even more. That's why they have to fight so hard right now.
Kris Brown's kick sends Michael Bates back to the 5. Bates stuck at the 18. Big special teams hit coming from Joey Porter.
Brought down by Joey Porter.
And this is a huge game for the Carolina Panthers. They need to win out when the remaining 2 to have a shot at the playoffs, as there is a flag on this one. And they started out slow, trailing 10-0 early, but they've turned it up a little bit. When it looked like it's out of their hands, they fight back into it.
And you know, Fred Lane had 7 carries for 67 yards in the first quarter alone. He fumbled, and then they got away from him, brought Anthony Johnson in. He fumbled. I think it might be time to go back to Fred Lane. But you can understand the coaching staff's hesitancy. When you have Beuerlein throwing as well as he's throwing, you don't want to take a chance of giving up the ball if you don't have to.
Fred Lane, 1 carry, 4 yards in the second quarter. Starts out the third quarter with 4 yards on first down.
And first down is huge for any offense because that really sets the tempo and it lets you open up your bag for the second half. I mean, for the second down and third down.
Quarterback comparison.
No comparison.
Yeah, no comparison is right. Steve Beuerlein on a couple of huge plays to Patrick Jeffers, threw for 209 in the first half. Second down and 4. Lane in motion. Beuerlein throws quick and complete outside to Muhsin Muhammad.
Now there you go. You come down and you had a 2nd and 4. So now the defense doesn't know what to expect. 2nd and 4, they could run it. They could do a short pass like they did then. That is the perfect example of keeping a defense on its heels.
And there's the numbers to back up what you're saying. Second down and 2.5 isn't too bad. Here it's 1st and 10.
You know,
Lane gets rocked in the middle by Earl Holmes.
That's a great hit by Earl Holmes, but once again, another side of Fred Lane. And if I'm Fred Lane and I just got rocked like that, I don't think I'd talk much trash. I think I would get back to the huddle and make sure my chin strap was snapped up. Fred Lane will take some shots because he runs high.
That's picture perfect.
I've seen you make some hits like that.
Our cameraman Mike Ratus with a wonderful shot. Second down and 9. Beuerlein complete outside to Patrick Jeffers. Jeffers only got 2 on that one. Usually he's going for 88 or 43 or something like that. There's Mike Ratus.
Are you cold, Mike?
No, not at all.
Right. Fox guys are tough, man. I'm sitting up here. I got the flu. I'll probably make you sick.
Well, that's the one thing I hope you do not do. I'm proud of your effort.
I don't want to suffer alone.
Misery does love company.
It does.
3rd and 6, blitz on the empty backfield. Complete to Wesley Walls for the first down.
You know, the key to getting Wesley Walls contained is I think you have to hit him coming off the line. And that's what people don't do to him for whatever reason. And they don't do it in general to any tight end. There he is. Look at him, free release. So not only does that give him timing and rhythm, but it gives him a chance to read the defense, which was zone, and then Wesley is good at knowing when to sit down. And he sits down in the right spot, and the ball is there. That's another example of timing and rhythm from this offense that works well.
And you talk about being on the same page, him and Beuerlein, they're on the same line of the same page.
Absolutely.
The Beuerlein. Fred Lane can't quite escape Jason Gilden's tackle. Picks up a couple yards.
Steve Beuerlein will be the first to tell you, I'm not doing anything different than what I've done. And you remember, this is a guy that's been criticized. They said he was too old. He doesn't have an arm. You know, all these things. It's funny what happens when you just hang in there and believe in yourself. And then have a couple people emerge, like Patrick Jeffers, that really help your whole game.
Talk about emergence. Look at the last 6 games, Beuerlein. 17 touchdown passes, just 2 interceptions.
Right, and that's the key. They're not throwing the interception. Blitz, empty backfield.
Again to Walls.
Same thing, empty backfield. Carolina knows they're going to get blitzed. And if you don't hit people off the line, there's Walls. Nobody touches him. You don't have a chance. Look, the guy runs 3 yards, stops, turns around,
too easy,
and catches the ball because you don't hit him. You have to do something. There's no blitz in the world that's going to get there that quick. Now, yeah, you'll get hits on the quarterback, and I can't say that those don't pay dividends later on, but meanwhile, the chains are moving.
Walls with 3 grabs and 27 yards on the day. Fred Lane hit by Flowers.
And Lee Flowers saved an easy 10-yard gain.
We had a chance to talk to Lee Flowers this week, and he was talking about, you know, this team needs to come in here and give a good effort for the city of Pittsburgh and the fans. He says the fans have treated him great, even though they haven't done well at home, 1-5 coming into this game. He said, we want to win this one for the fans. 2nd and 6. Empty backfield again. Look for Walls. This time it's into the slot where it's incomplete, intended for Kinchin, another tight end.
This is approaching the area of the field where Carolina has really gone to Walls. Now, if I'm Jim Haslett, defensive coordinator, I'm going to make sure I not only hit Walls coming off the line, but I have some help. I have maybe a strong safety or a corner over there on him.
3rd down and 6. Carolina 3 of 5 on 3rd down. Blitz comes. Beuerlein throws it before he wants to. Incomplete. Townsend with a good defensive play. Bring on the punt unit.
Blitz got there that time. Lance Brown in there.
Ball was intended for Donald Hayes.
Lance Brown coming off the corner along with Chad Scott. Chad Scott is the guy who forces the bad throw.
2nd punt of the day for Ken Walter. The first one was his first touchback of the season.
Now that was going to stick.
And this one is inside the 20 at the 12-yard line. 17 punts inside the 20 this year for Walter. We'll be back in a moment.
Since we have no place to go.
I'm handing some hot chocolate. Here you go,
There you
Whit.
go, brother. There you go.
There you go, buddy.
Mine might be a little hotter.
Attaboy, there you go.
Watch out. You don't know what Ray might have slipped you there. Might have you dancing in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, don't drink that.
2nd down.
I might need some of that. That's the way I feel.
What a wonderful crew we work with. Gain of 3 on the play. 2nd down and 7. We apologize for missing that play. Just had to give Wynn his credit, which he so richly deserved. Bettis gains 2 yards on the play. Coming up next, it's the second half of our Fox NFL Sunday doubleheader. The Packers head down to Tampa to battle Mike Allstott and the NFC Central leading Buccaneers. That's coming up next. Green Bay and Tampa Bay. Huge playoff implications in that game.
And you said that one right. Battle Mike Allstott. That's the #1 guy to take care of. Mike Allstott makes everything work on that team, along with Warren Sapp. He's not bad either.
Not at all. 3rd down and 5. Tomczak dumps it over the middle, complete for the first down by Troy Edwards.
That's a good catch, I think.
Yeah, a catch and then ball down on the ground there. All right, now let's go to the Fox Network Center for an update. Here's JB.
Hey, Ray and Ron, take a look at this. Jeff George, little reverse to Randy Moss. What does Moss do? Man, can he do it all? He tosses a touchdown strike to Chris Carter, 27 yards, 1-2-1-6. Vikings. Eddie Green showing some offensive creativity. Ray and Ron.
Well, that is some versatility there.
That's incredible. Here's that last 3rd down conversion. You can see Edwards clearly had the football. Marked up at the 25, 1st and 10. Outside, again, complete. Hines Ward had this one. The situation, again, Carolina Panthers can control their own destiny if the New York Giants lose either this week or next week, and Carolina wins their 2 remaining games here today and at home against New Orleans next week. That would put Carolina into the playoffs.
Yeah, and who's on first?
Yeah. Well, Minnesota's on first right now. Bettis, first down.
You know the bottom line and all that, what you just said, Ray? That's great information.
Thank you.
But it all comes down to one thing. You need to worry about your house.
Right.
Okay, and right now, your house is down by 3 points, and the bus and Huntley, they're still rolling down the field. Look at this, boy. The snow is falling, a little accumulation.
I said it earlier. I got excited in the first half, and I'm telling you, this is what it's all about right here. Bettis slips, and then is hit. No gain on the play. Mike Minter up there from the safety spot.
I think Pittsburgh has to take one shot deep. You're getting close to that time where you have to test out, especially Carolina in the secondary, because early in the year they were giving up some people. You have to go back and see if that is still there.
Jerome Bettis checks out. Huntley goes in at the tailback spot. 2nd down and 10. Tomczak dumps it to his fullback Whitman, who picks up 5 on the play. Mike Barrow with coverage and the tackle.
That's one of those plays where, okay, let's just shave some yards off of our 3rd down play. We know we're probably not going to get it all at once. Our passing game right now isn't good enough to get it all at once, or at least consistently. So let's get it to a 3rd and 5, 3rd and 6. Now that's convertible.
3rd and 5. See Pittsburgh 4 of 7 on 3rd down conversions, and that turf gets a little slippery. You might have to change the shoes. Tomczak to Huntley. Huntley is hit short of the 1st down by Mike Minter.
Great hit by Mike Minter. And really, Tomczak's got no chance on that play. You know, a dump off to a guy in open field is one thing where he can be face up and see everything, but look at the way Huntley has to catch this ball. He's got to stop, get redirected on a slippery field, and then try to head upfield. No way.
Josh Miller on to punt on 4th and 2. Eric Metcalf back at his own 15 to return.
I say if you're going to make that throw, make a throw beyond the marker.
Miller.
That was a good decision by Bates. That was a bad ball.
It goes out of bounds. Now there's a flag down as there's some extracurricular activity after the 38-yard punt.
Well, in school, extracurricular was always something good.
Yeah, not so good here.
Of course, the talking that goes on with the extracurricular activity is always special, especially this time of year.
There's some season's greetings being passed back and forth.
Ray, you talked about the new shoes coming out. You know, this turf was a little bit slippery.
It's so hard and frozen.
You're right, it's hard.
Unnecessary roughness. 33. 15-yard penalty. First down.
And Richard Huntley's penalty. Right there, he's messing with Bates, and that'll cost the Steelers some yards. They lead by 3. Oh, the weather outside is frightful.
Woo. How much does CD cost?
Not out yet, but I'll let you know. First and 10, Carolina.
If you don't remind me, that'll be okay.
Beuerlein throws it out to Fred Lane. Lane. Chest bump backward by Chad Scott.
That's what I mean about Fred Lane. He takes the most hellacious shot. I don't know if Chad Scott is feeling too good after that one either. We talked about the shoes and the footing becoming a little bit of a problem here. Watch Lane. He doesn't know where he wants to go. He never gets that right foot planted firmly. And then gets the helmet planted in his chest.
You have 2 different kinds of cleats or shoes that you wear on this turf. Actually 3. You can wear a flat bottom in a real dry situation, the regular turf shoe, and then they have a rain shoe which has bigger spikes on it.
Yeah, and you don't want too much of like a waffle bottom because they'll hold the snow and you won't get any grip. It's like mud on a tire.
Beuerlein throws it outside, complete to Muhammad. 5 yards short of the first down. Townsend on the defense.
And even when this turf gets wet, you'll see guys come out. We used to come out with the rain.
Right, the rain
which
shoes
were
with the
more
longer,
like longer studs, longer molded studs.
Yeah, like a snow tire. One thing you don't want is this right here, the flat bottom.
Right.
Those are a regular turf shoe.
Yeah.
Now the rain shoe, the studs are much more prominent and larger. And you're right, if you get a lot of snow, they can stick up in there.
And that's what Tomczak's going to right there.
3rd and 5, Steelers jump offside. Run outside to Jeffers, close to a first down. We'll see where they mark it. There is that flag down. It looked like Joey Porter got a head start. And they're pointing, are the Steelers, at Carolina. Let's see if they're right. Might have been a pick play. Preliminary signal is pass interference against the Panthers.
Pass interference. 87 offense. A 10-yard penalty. Repeat 3rd down.
They call that one on Muhsin Muhammad. That's a pick play. You don't get that call very often. There's Muhammad working outside there. See, whenever a receiver makes contact, and in the official's mind, it was to pick, disrupt, block, and that's a form of interference.
That's where you have to be a good actor as a receiver. Make it look like it was just your route. The Steelers want a measurement to decide whether or not they'll take this penalty. If it's short of that first down, it'd bring up 4th and 1, and you'd expect the Steelers to decline, and Carolina would have to punt.
Well, it looks short from here.
You're 1 for 1 on the day. Oh, you're 2 for 2. You'd have the flu more often.
No thanks. They'll force a 4th down to punt by Carolina. It should, unless they want to go for
They're
it.
bringing the punt team out. I always wonder about them chains when they have the tape on them. To the proper length.
Yeah.
See the tape on that
Yeah.
thing? You wonder.
Maybe they might have a link wrapped up in there somewhere.
Ken Walter on the punt. Bobby Shaw set to return this one, standing at his 18-yard line. Walter off the side of his foot. It's a nice Carolina bounce, however.
Oh, that's a serious Christmas bounce right there.
Rolls down to the 23, and it's still rolling. Inside the 23-yard line, a 39-yard punt for Ken Walter. Steelers up by 3.
With a corncob pipe and a button nose.
Version of a pit stop.
You know, another key in footing is that you can't spat up, meaning you can't put the tape around your ankles. Now, over here on the right, you have Fred Lane. He's getting that spat taken off. Now, someone else there is getting on. See the spat.
You can take away the problems,
yeah,
right?
You take away from the surface area of your shoe when you have tape on the bottom of it. The bus.
Jerome Bettis for a first down. Gain of 11 on the play. Alexander makes the tackle.
I don't know if there's anybody in the league, or he's got to be at least in the top 3 to carry the ball as much as Jerome Bettis.
The game summary for you. Pittsburgh started out with a 10-0 lead. Carolina has been striking back to keep within striking distance, and those strikes are coming from Steve Beuerlein to Patrick Jeffers. And then the running game for the Steelers has been outstanding today. Tomczak on 1st and 10, play action, hits Hines Ward for 5 yards. And right now, let's go to the Fox Network Center for an NFL update. Here's JB.
Hey, Ray, after a Gary Blanchard field goal, look how Minnesota responds. On the kickoff, Mo Williams takes it. How far, Ray and Ron? 85 yards to pay dirt. Vikings looking good. Back to Ray and Ron.
Boy, the Minnesota Vikings are looking very good right now.
I think the referees have changed shoes. That's the ticket right there. You see those studs on the bottom?
Looks like a snow tire.
You need to be able to get through the snow and get some contact on the turf.
Bettis. Up to the 44, very close to a first down. Mike Farrell makes that tackle along with Dean Wells.
The Steelers' offense is not geared to strike quick. It's not geared to come from behind. So where they're at right now is perfect position for them. They're ahead. It's only by 3, but they're ahead. And they're going to stay into this grinded out, slow movement mode. Carolina has to be careful not to mess around too long. Because if they get in a situation where the Steelers are going to try to run it out, they could be in trouble.
3rd and 1. The bus. And with the mark, he'll have the first down. Jerome Bettis getting close to 100 yards on the day. 93 prior to that carry. Has had only one 100-yard game all season. That should be the final play, and it is the final play of the 3rd quarter. Welcome back to snowy Pittsburgh. Ray Bentley along with Ron Pitts. I don't know if you can make us out through the snow here at Three Rivers Stadium. You see the score by quarter. No points in that 3rd period. Pittsburgh with a 23-20 lead. They have the football. 1st and 10 from their own 45-yard line. Steelers very good under Bill Cowher when they take that lead into the final quarter.
And that's because of that grinded out ground control offense that I just talked about.
Tomczak over the middle, an errant throw, almost picked off by Wells.
And that right there is why they are a grinded out ground control offense. That's funny, they made the switch from quarterback, and a lot of people in Pittsburgh, don't want to see Cordell Stewart anywhere near the quarterback position, nonetheless on the team anymore.
Heard that several times this weekend.
Right.
This is what the snow can do to you sometimes.
You know, I think he lost that ball coming out of his hand.
2nd down and 10, Huntley. Hit in the backfield by Sean Gilbert.
Sean Gilbert, of course, a PA native from Aliquippa. Coming back to the home state here. Went to Pitt University. He's still a Panther.
Once a Panther, always a Panther, I guess. 3rd down and 11 now. 4 wide receivers in the mix for Tomczak, who goes to the shotgun. Motion by Cordell Stewart. Tomczak trying to set up a screen, and he'll be sacked. Jason Peter.
And he pulled that ball down because Kevin Green looked as if he was standing right there ready to intercept the screen. Now here's Green up here. Here's Peter, just a 3-man rush. Look at Green. That's the key to the whole thing. And actually a smart move by Mike Tomczak. He throws that ball. It would have been broken up at best for the Steelers. Could have easily been going the other way. Punt it and live another day.
Nice play from Kevin Green, the former Steeler.
Well, look at this accumulation. I like this. This is football in December.
Josh Miller on the punt for the 3rd time today. I lost the ball in the snow.
I completely lost it.
There it is. Metcalf has it at the 15.
Whoa, look, he's
Jumps over
jumping.
2 men. Little hopscotch up to the 25-yard line. A 53-yard punt and a 9-yard return for Metcalf.
Hey, this is what... Oh, Bates is down.
Bates
is down there.
Metcalf
Long jumping.
with a little slalom action.
Plant, skip, plant,
skip. Ice melting here today. 1st down and 10. Carolina trailing by 3. Fred Lane tackled by Kirkland at the 30-yard line.
And that's where the Carolina Panthers are going to have to go. The game has come full circle now with the weather, the snow. It'll be interesting to see if they can still pass as effectively as they did when the weather wasn't like this.
They weren't able to in the 3rd quarter. You look at the pre-snow stats from the 1st half or the flurry stats, and now the heavy snow has shut down both of these offenses. And as you said, the ground game becomes much more important.
Absolutely.
Second and 3. No one in the backfield for Beuerlein. Pump fakes, and now he'll put it down. And Steve Beuerlein, with plenty of room, slides in at the 45-yard line. A run of 14, a late flag.
Yeah, they're going to get hit on a late hit.
Yeah, when he goes feet first, you can't hit the quarterback.
Right.
Anthony Redmond down on the field. But Steve Beuerlein has got an extra gear this year. He's rushed for over 100 yards. I know you laugh when I say that, but he's rushed for over 100 yards for the first time in his career this season, including that game-winning touchdown in Green Bay a couple of weeks ago.
He was proud of that, too. We talked to him last night.
Number 41 of the defense.
15
yards. The 1st down.
Lee Flowers on the penalty.
That is a huge play in this drive for Carolina. That tacks on another 15.
We'll take it. You're going to see right here where Anthony Redmond gets hurt. Twists that ankle right there and then falls down on it. And he was helped off the field, and Brian Stoltenberg replaces Redmond at right guard. Fred Lane, both hands on the football, picks up 8 yards.
You better believe he's got both hands on the ball. That came directly from the sideline, especially after that play earlier in the game, the fumble down by the goal line. Anthony Redmond checks back in.
Boy, look at that. Tennessee all over Jacksonville. 38-13. That's something of a surprise.
Well, they're in Tennessee, and Tennessee has a pretty darn good team. You're talking about 2 teams, one with 13 wins, 11 wins, and neither one can wrap it up because the division's so close, at least with those 2.
2nd down and 2. Fred Lane running sideways. Kirkland can't get him, but Emmons does.
That's just great speed on the outside. Holding the corner, LeBron Kirkland, the big man in the middle. You can always win against the run as long as you keep the running back running sideways.
Right, especially in this weather when it's so difficult to cut upfield. I've played in these kind of games, and with my size 13s, I had skis on out there. This is my kind of weather.
You had skis on.
3rd down and 6. Dropped by by Donald Hayes. Coverage by Townsend.
Donald Hayes has been huge for this team in the past few weeks. That's a big drop for him. I think Donald Hayes is very close to the first down if he catches that ball.
It looks like Carolina's going to go for this in this situation.
Well, the way the Steelers are running the football and eating up the clock, I don't know that I disagree with George Seifert.
Well, he did a nice job on that 4th and 10 at the end of the half. A touchdown pass from Beuerlein to Jeffers. Beuerlein incomplete to Jeffers. Flowers broke it up.
That was a great play by Lee Flowers. He times up that strip perfectly.
And Pittsburgh takes over on downs.
Christmas, just like the one.
Field is beginning to be covered by the snow here in Pittsburgh. Steelers with a 3-point lead. 10:59 left here in the ball game. 1st and 10 Steelers. Bettis pounded at the line of scrimmage. This holiday season, Warren Sapp leads the mad rush towards the playoffs as the Buccaneers send warm greetings to the Green Bay Packers, Sapp style. Favre and the Pack need to get a rung up to stay alive as the Bucs look to shake off last week's hangover. Holiday spirits will be high as the postseason is on the line. It's game 2 of a Fox doubleheader next, right here on Fox, except for those of you in the Pittsburgh area. 2nd down and 8. Tomczak dumps it outside for Bettis, who makes a nice catch, but then he is hit immediately by Kevin Green.
Kevin Green has been all over the field today. He's a little slow to get up on that play. He's limping a little bit. 2nd down after a short gain. The Steelers' tendencies are to throw. They haven't been going down the field, so the linebackers are playing close to the line so they can come up with plays like that.
Kevin Green checks out as the Panthers go to their nickel package. 3rd and 11. Tomczak dumps it off to Huntley.
It's not going to get it.
And Huntley comes up 4 yards short of the first down.
Steelers can't push the ball vertically. They can't get out of 3rd and even medium to long 3rd down situation.
And give
that
Carolina
cripples your
credit
offense.
for stopping the run on first down.
First down, exactly. They brought up the safety. They made it an 8-man front, and they said, we're going to take a chance in here in the box, and we're going to give it up in the secondary, knowing you can't throw and knowing that you've been pounding the football and want to pound the football with Jerome Bettis.
Josh Miller on to punt. Eric Metcalf standing at his 15, set for a little more downhill. And Miller hits a returnable ball to Metcalf at the 14. He takes it up to the 22 before he is forced out of bounds. 46-yard punt, 12-yard return. Carolina with the ball. They trail by 3. You can see the field is beginning to become completely snow-covered here in Pittsburgh. Started midway through the 3rd quarter, and it's come down heavily since. And nobody has been able to score or do much else with a football in the snow. 1st and 10, Carolina. Their own 22, Beuerlein. Hands it off to Fred Lane. He's hit in the backfield by a blitzing Levon Kirkland.
First down, great play, Levon Kirkland. Hard to believe that you take a guy that's 270 pounds, can run this well. And then has a knack, has good feet, and can be under control. And hey, when you have a backside that wide open, it's hard not to make a play.
I would imagine with Kirkland's size, he's probably got better footing than other guys in this kind of treacherous
with the weight on this
situation, right? 2nd down and 12. Beuerlein dumps it to Floyd, who can't hang on to it. Right now, we go for an NFL update to the Fox Network Center. Here's JB.
Ray and Ron, take a look at Robert Smith here, hitting traffic right here. What does he do? Bounces off, as Terry Bradshaw calls it. Championship jeans coming to the fore. 70-yard touchdown run. Believe it or not, Robert Smith's first rushing touchdown of the season. Minnesota up by 17. Back to Ray and Ron.
Thank you, JB. And this is going to help Carolina. That was the thing they needed, the Giants to lose or tie either game, but they need to take care of their business here. They trail by 3 with 7:53 left, 3rd and 12. Empty backfield. Beuerlein down the middle, incomplete, looking for Walls. Oldham with the defense, Flowers with the hit. Now they're going at it.
You know what?
Flowers and Walls.
Now, Walls went after Lee Flowers. Boy, they got a good one here. Now, is this a skirmish or a Donnybrook?
That's Donnybrook.
That's Donnybrook, all right. Yeah, when a helmet comes off, I think it escalates to Downey. You know, Wesley Walls went after Lee Flowers. And I don't know who they're going to penalize here, but they should penalize Walls, even though Flowers did throw the first punch technically. Play's over.
And Walls grabbed him, and Flowers objected to it. And here comes the uppercut.
Uppercut, body blow. And knock his block off.
You talked about rock'em sock'em robots earlier. And it'll be a double foul.
That was done right. That's a good call by the official. Because one guy started it, the guy on your left, and the guy on your right kept it going.
Well, if that's a continuing action foul, Carolina could get another shot on 3rd down. Could actually benefit them.
They will get another shot.
Unnecessary roughness.
No, they
Number
won't.
85 of the
See if
offense.
he does.
Unnecessary roughness. Number 47, number 41 of the defense. By virtue of their action, both players have disqualified themselves. The action occurred after the play was over. The down counts, brings up 4th down.
That is huge. If I'm Carolina, no knock against Lee Flowers, because he's just as important to their team as Walls is to Carolina, but if I'm Carolina, I just lost on that deal. Now I'm taking my best player, my Pro Bowler on offense, or one of them, somebody who's huge for me in the red area, especially, out of the game. That may change the whole complexion offensively to what Carolina can do now.
Ken Walter on to punt it away. The foul occurred after the play in the judgment of the officials, and Shaw is back to receive. Short punt. Fielded by Hines Ward, and he is forced out of bounds at midfield. And that's where the Steelers will take over. They lead by 3 here with 7:38 left.
Butterfly is so delightful. Since we've no place to go, let it.
There you go, the NFL's version of the Zamboni machine.
Let's go back to that play where you had the disqualification of Walls and Flowers.
Now the hit coming in from Flowers,
A little late.
that's marginal. Yeah, it's a little late. Okay, and you see Walls asking for the flag.
And then he gets jumped on by Shields coming in late. So he had every reason to be upset, but you don't want to react in the way that he did.
You know what, Ray? I've seen days when that was okay. In the old school, and the old Steelers defense would give you a shot like that, no problem. And nobody would say anything about it.
It's a different era.
Yeah. A much different era. I like a good squab.
And when you are ejected from an NFL game, you are required to leave the sidelines.
Boy, look at this. It is blowing now.
They are clearing off the goal lines and sidelines so the officials can make the correct call.
Well, then what's this one line? Look at this guy. You'll be where I'm at in a few minutes, buddy. You'll have the flu. They got one line right over about the 35. It's already covered. Look at that.
Yeah, the wind is all of a sudden kicked up here. Blizzard conditions at Three Rivers.
Look at this. And isn't it interesting that the Pittsburgh Steelers are now going with the win? With 7:38 left in the game with a ground control offense.
The game summary thus far. Beuerlein and Jeffers kept Carolina in this ball game in that first half, and the Pittsburgh Steelers ran the ball and capitalized on turnovers to get their points.
First down, key for Carolina's defense. They have to shut the Steelers down on the first down.
Tomczak to throw on first down. Throws it outside, incomplete.
I don't know if Troy Edwards could see the ball. I got to tell you, when you're looking, I don't know why they threw on that down either.
Stop the clock.
Second down and 10.
You got Jerome Bettis. You got Richard Huntley going crazy running, and then you come out and throw. I'm Carolina. That's what I wanted you to do. Well, that Zamboni work did absolutely nothing.
It's pretty much then negated at this point. And now they have the Zamboni going in the end zone during the course of play. and they can't do that.
Nobody told these guys that the game was going on.
These guys are working hard. And here comes Ron Winter.
Ron Winter.
To tell these guys, hey, we want to play football.
Hey. Now he's going to go yell at this guy to get the machine off the field. And look, if you got the ball, just run until your feet hit the yellow paint.
So the Zambonis have been quieted. Pittsburgh will go 2nd and 10 from the 48-yard line. I think it's the 48. You can't tell from up here. The snow has covered the field. And now they go to the ground with Bettis. Bettis stops for a gain of 2.
Okay, now you're running second down, don't get anything. Now you have to pass.
Hey, remember that old New England-Miami game years ago when they brought the snowblower out to let the field goal kicker make the field goal?
Yeah.
We might get one of those here today.
We might get one of these.
And the wind has really kicked up here in Pittsburgh. 3rd down and 8. Huntley in the backfield. He'll take the handoff. Richard Huntley outside. First down, Steelers.
That's exactly the guy I would have thought of in this situation. You don't want to take a chance on running it, so you give it to your next best threat. That looked like a little bit of a hole on the outside on Doug Evans, the cornerback.
And then you have a little fun at the end.
This is where the Steelers need to think about one thing, and that's taking time off the clock.
1st and 10, Bettis. Breaks through. Another first down for Pittsburgh. Jerome Bettis rips off 13.
Carolina Panthers are in serious trouble.
Bettis goes over 100 for the day and 1,000 for the season. 4 consecutive years.
And what down was that first down? Straight power football. Fullback, go find somebody, and now let the bus pick his way. A missed tackle in there. They had a chance. When you get 250 pounds tugging at you, it's easy to miss tackle. Poor Eric Davis, he has to come over from the corner position and stop the play.
They put a snow plow on the front of the bus.
There he goes again. Now, if I'm Pittsburgh, I'm going to use all the time I can in the huddle. I'm going to slow this game down.
You see Jerome Bettis, 113 on the day, 1,010 on the year, and he's got the ball, Steelers ball, at the 20-yard line of Carolina, 2nd and 7. Tomczak, running out of time on the play clock, uses the timeout, the first timeout for Pittsburgh. They lead by 3 with 5:07 left.
Jingle bells swing and jingle bells ring, snowing.
Pitts, the abominable snowman, all here in Pittsburgh, as the Steelers, with a 3-point lead, have been grinding it out on the ground in this drive.
You don't want to get run over by that machine there. It's got those big, thick bristles on it. Just smart a little bit. See, Pittsburgh now, they get a first down here. We're going to run this clock under 3 minutes. And that could be all but devastating for Carolina.
Steelers have gotten it done on the ground today. You see the numbers for Huntley and Bettis on this drive. Bettis 3 carries for 16. Huntley 1 for 10.
And Huntley for Pittsburgh has been what Jeffers has been for Carolina.
2nd and 6. Bettis. He stopped short of the first down. Gene Wells made the primary tackle. See the timeouts left. Carolina with 3, Pittsburgh with 2 as we go down to the 4:45 mark.
Big play coming up. They're going to take all 21 seconds remaining off that play clock. They're going to take that down.
Steve Beuerlein trying to stay warm, hoping he'll get a chance to bring his Panthers back. 3rd down and 3. Bettis hit and stopped.
I don't know if his second effort got him close.
Well,
it depends on where they mark it. He looked like he was stopped short.
Gene Wells hit him first, and then Bettis had a little bit more for him.
Funny thing about it is if you're Jerome Bettis,
Carolina takes a timeout.
if you're Jerome Bettis, how do you even know where the first down marker was? I mean, once you get rolling, that marker's completely covered in snow.
The running game for the Pittsburgh Steelers has been the story on offense. Huntley and Bettis. Richard Huntley with a touchdown in the first half. You can see no snow on the ground there. And then Bettis with a big run. It's been Bettis inside, Huntley outside.
I thought this was the biggest play of the game for the Steelers right here, thus far. That play there, because that was a crucial 3rd down conversion that the Steelers had to make to keep this drive going.
So we have a 4th down and 2 for Pittsburgh. And they have decided to go for this. Rather than attempt a field goal on this treacherous turf, they're going to go for it on 4th down.
And you know, this is just pure Pittsburgh Steeler football. And this is Bill Cowher football. This is saying, hey, if we're not man enough to go for 1 yard and to beat you for 1 yard with the 2 backs we have, then we don't deserve to win the game.
Bettis, first down.
And more. And more. That's all attitude there. Carolina smart.
Using
they
another
called for
timeout, right?
They called for timeout.
The 2nd timeout used by George Seifert.
Just off tackle. Watch the block by the fullback. Jerome Bettis had the first down before anybody even touched him, I think.
The ball is marked at the 12-yard line. It'll be 1st and 10 from the 12.
And that's what Jerome Bettis gives you. That's just pure guts football. It's funny, you know, Ray Rhodes, head coach of the Green Bay Packers, came under a lot of criticism a couple weeks ago for not saving time on the clock and making that last play, that indeed the last play. Sometimes you have to put it on your team's shoulders. You know, what happens if the Steelers don't make it there? People will surely criticize Coach Cowher. But sooner or later, this game comes out of the coach's hands, out of the system's hands, and I think it comes down to can you beat your man and get the job done.
1st and 10 from the 12. 9th play of the drive. Jerome Bettis met for a gain of 2.
And the thing about this is Carolina now, with 1 timeout left, They're going to have to try to hold on to that one timeout.
Yeah.
They have to give Steve Beuerlein something on the back end.
The biggest thing,
assuming there's no score.
right, the biggest thing is to hold it at least to just a field goal here so that they only need one score to pull it out.
And in Steve Beuerlein's mind right now, I'm sure he's just going over every scenario, every play, what he wants to do, how he would attack it, and where he wants to go.
One scenario is not Wesley Walls, who has been ejected from this game, as Bettis picks up a couple of more on the right side. Sean Gilbert, Chuck Wiley on the tackle.
Gilbert on the tackle.
NFC wildcard race, the top three here make the playoffs. You see that Minnesota leading the Giants by 17 late in that game. So they will go to 9-6. Giants 7-8. And Carolina, as we told you, with the Giants loss, controls their own destiny to get in. They just need to win their final two. They trail by 3 with 2:30 left here. Third down. The ball, touchdown.
And this is the danger of playing a team that has nothing to play for when you've got everything to play for. It was at their place. It's been cold. The snow came. Every reason in the world to spoil your fun. And so far, the Pittsburgh Steelers are spoiling the fun and the playoff hopes, possibly, of the Carolina Panthers.
Kris Brown on to attempt the extra point. That's good. Steelers go up 30-20. Ray Bentley and Ron Pitts here in Pittsburgh. We'd like to welcome those of you who are watching the Atlanta-Arizona game. Atlanta 37, Arizona 14. Our score here, Pittsburgh 30, Carolina 20, as Jerome Bettis just ran 8 yards for a touchdown. It was an 11-play, 48-yard drive. All those yards came on the ground, as in this weather, the Steelers churn it out.
You knew the Steelers were going to this. Ground control ball. They were able to do that in the beginning of the game. They've been able to do that all game long. And the most devastating thing about it, outside of Jerome Bettis running people over, is that it's taken time off the clock. That drive not only got a touchdown, put points on the board for Pittsburgh, but it took time off the clock, and it took 2 timeouts away from the Carolina Panthers offense.
That's right. They have one left, as you see the results of Huntley's and Bettis' efforts today. And Carolina on the ropes right now because the New York Giants are trailing the Minnesota Vikings, and the Giants were the key for Carolina. The Giants lose. Carolina controls their own destiny. They need to win here today and then next week at home against New Orleans to get the playoffs. They're going to need help unless they come back here trailing by 10 with 2:26 left. Started out not a bad day here. We had some flurries in the first half, but the third quarter, midway through, the snow really started to come down.
Yeah, they got the machines out there, and you can see they're trying to do the best they can. But isn't it funny, Ray, how that snowstorm came up as soon as Pittsburgh got the ball, down here at this end of the field, or actually down here at this end of the field, and it was at their backs the whole time, and now it stopped.
Blew them right into the end zone. Kris Brown's trying to scrape off a spot to kick the ball. And they are waiting for the Zambonis to clear off the perimeter of the field so that the officials can make the proper calls on the boundaries.
Well, they got it going right now. They used the tandem setup. They did the 2-by-2 thing. One went, and then the other one went right behind it.
Taking a couple of laps.
for the kickers, this is the worst part. This is like kicking a brick now. Already got that special K-ball out there. It's already hard.
Ray Bentley and Ron Pitts here in Pittsburgh, named after Ron Pitts. I'd like to welcome those of you who watched Minnesota beat the Giants 34-17. Minnesota moves into pretty good position now for the playoffs. Carolina here trails by 10 with 2:26 left as the Steelers just took it on the ground, a 48-yard drive, all of it coming on the ground to take control of this game. Kris Brown set to kick off. Metcalf and Bates are deep. Michael Bates.
Wow, he got crushed.
He got collared at the 23-yard line by Joey Porter.
Well, that's one of the best special teams hits we've seen all day. Well, that's what happens when you get momentum. The first unit to really show it, I think, is a special team.
Steve Beuerlein with 2:16 left on the clock. He has one timeout remaining. They need 2 scores, do the Panthers, to get back into this game. And Beuerlein is without his tight end, All-Pro Wesley Walls, who was ejected earlier in the fourth quarter after he got into a Donnybrook with Lee Flowers. Beuerlein connects for a first down outside to Masin Muhammad.
And, you know, it's not all said and done for Pittsburgh yet either, because they have had a bad habit of giving up big plays, especially pass plays, when they don't need it.
That is our 2-minute warning. The score here in Pittsburgh, the Steelers 30, the Carolina Panthers 20. Snowstorm here in Pittsburgh as the Steelers lead the Carolina Panthers 30-20. 2 minutes left in the contest. Steve Beuerlein under center at the 36-yard line. You can see since the snow started, it's been almost impossible to throw the football.
There's the
Beuerlein
deep ball.
for Hayes. Batted up, incomplete.
Great play by Tomczak.
And Scott Shields over there as well from the safety spot.
Now, Donald Hayes never sold Tomczak on the stutter and go. I don't think the footing is good enough for receivers to really get that stick and that acceleration. And everything is like skating right now.
One thing, though, the offense does have a slight advantage. They know where they're going. Defense has to react. 2nd down and 10. Beuerlein to Hayes, incomplete. Dropped by Donald Hayes. The 6th drop pass of the day for Carolina.
Donald Hayes is killing the Panthers today. Now, that's 2 drops I've counted by him. That one would have put him very close to the first down. And in the 2 minute, every offensive coordinator would tell you the first thing you want to do, even though you're low on time or timeouts, you want to keep moving the chain somehow. You know, you can't get to the ultimate goal, which is a touchdown, without taking those baby steps first.
3rd down and 10.
Got a man.
Masin Muhammad. He's out of bounds. Incomplete.
Wow.
How could you tell?
What a throw by Beuerlein. That ball is right on the money. And I don't know how Musin could tell whether or not he was in bounds. That's one in.
They're both out. Both out. It's so tough along those sidelines. That brings up now 4th down and 10. And now the official, Ron Winter, stops play. And then now they will wind it again. 4th down and 10.
There it is.
Beuerlein intercepted. Scott Shields. Shields gets out of bounds.
He had Muhammad open, and he let him too much.
And that's the final blow to the Carolina Panthers. who will not be eliminated from the playoffs, but they lose an opportunity to control their own destiny.
It'll just make that road that much harder. Finn's going to come in on a deep in route, and he's got him open. That ball just floats a little bit too much. You can see it right there. You can't ask for a better pattern or a better chance. For some reason, I think the wind might have got that one. Maybe Beuerlein let it go a little bit too far. But a big play by Shields when they need it.
And Steve Beuerlein had gone 120 passes without throwing an interception, and that one is costly. Coming up, game 2 of our Fox NFL Sunday doubleheader. We go down to Tampa, take another knee. I'd like to tell you today's game is being produced by Pete Macheska, directed by Michael Frank. His associate director is Barry Landis. The executive broadcast associate is Eric Billigmeyer. The technical producer is Dan Rotante. Studio show is produced by Scott Ackerson, directed by Bob Levy. Associate director is Jennifer Love. The senior producer of Fox Sports is Bill Brown. The executive producers, Ed Gorn and David Hill. And the Pittsburgh Steelers snapped their 6-game losing streak, getting just their 2nd win of the season here at home at Three Rivers as Mike Tomczak takes the knee for the final time, and the clock ticks down to the final score. Pittsburgh 30, Carolina 20. We'll be back with more in just a moment.
Can't believe you tore a stunt like that. What were you thinking? You weren't thinking, were you? I don't think so. You think you're different? You think you're special? No, I don't. Get that camera out of here. Did we go over this? We did. You want to coach this team? I didn't know it was the last one. He's so sensitive. These are mine, too.
Many memorable meetings between the Miami Dolphins and the New York Jets.